talking before I came backstage, Pat Quinn, he was talking about how I came over the Don Moffat Bridge. You know, But we've got work to do all across the country. We've got ports that aren't ready for the new super tankers that are going to begin passing through the new Panama Canal in 2 years' time. If we don't get that done, those tankers are going to go someplace else. We've got more than 100,000 bridges that are old enough to qualify for Medicare. Businesses depend on our transportation systems, on our power grids, on our communications networks, and rebuilding them creates good-paying jobs right now that can't be outsourced. And by the way, this isn't a Democratic idea. You know, Republicans built a lot of stuff. This is the land of Lincoln. Lincoln was all about building stuff. First Republican president. And yet, as a share of our economy, we invest less in our infrastructure than we did 2 decades ago. And that's inefficient at a time when it's as cheap as it's been since the 1950s to build things. It's inexcusable at a time when so many of the workers who build stuff for a living are sitting at home waiting for a call. The longer we put this off, the more expensive it will be, and the less competitive we will be. Businesses of tomorrow will not locate near old roads and outdated ports. They'll relocate to places with high-speed internet and high-tech schools and systems that move air and auto traffic faster. And not to mention, we'll get parents home quicker from work because we'll be eliminating some of these traffic jams. And we can watch all of that happen in other countries and start falling behind, or we can choose to make it happen right here in the United States. In an age when jobs know no borders, companies are also going to seek out the countries that boast the most talented citizens. And they'll reward folks who have the skills and the talents they need. They'll reward those folks with good pay. You know, the days when the wages for a worker with a high school degree could keep pace with the earnings of somebody who got some sort of higher education, those days are over. Everybody here knows that. There are a whole bunch of folks here whose dads or grandpas, you know, worked at a plant. Didn't need a high school education. You could just go there. If you were willing to work hard, you might be able to get 2 jobs. And you could support your family, have a vacation, own your home. But technology and global competition, they're not going away. Those old days aren't coming back. So we can either throw up our hands and resign ourselves to diminishing living standards, or we can do what America's always done, which is adapt and pull together and fight back and win. That's what we have to do. And that brings me to the second cornerstone of a strong middle class. And everybody here knows it. An education that prepares our children and our workers for the global competition that they're going to face. And if you think education is expensive, wait until you see how much ignorance costs in the 21st century. If we don't make this investment, we're going to put our kids, our workers, and our country at a competitive disadvantage for decades. So we have to begin in the earliest years. And that's why I'm going to keep pushing to make high-quality preschool available for every 4-year-old in America. Not just because we know it works for our kids, but because it provides a vital support system for working parents. And I'm going to take action in the education area to spur innovation that don't require Congress. So today, for example, as we speak, federal agencies are moving on my plan to connect 99% of America's students to high-speed internet over the next 5 years. We're making that happen right now. We've already begun meeting with business leaders and tech entrepreneurs and innovative educators to identify the best ideas for redesigning our high schools so that they teach the skills required for a high-tech economy. And we're also going to keep pushing new efforts to train workers for changing jobs. So here in Galesburg, for example, a lot of the workers that were laid off at Maytag chose to enroll in retraining programs like the one at Carl Sandburg College. And while it didn't pay off for everyone, a lot of the folks who were retrained found jobs that suited them even better and paid even more than the ones they had lost. And that's why I've asked Congress to start a community college to career initiative so that workers can earn the skills that high-tech jobs demand without leaving their hometown. And I'm going to challenge CEOs from some of America's best companies to hire more Americans who've got what it takes to fill that job opening, but have been laid off for so long that nobody's giving their resume an honest look. True that too. I'm also going to use the power of my office over the next few months to highlight a topic that's straining the budgets of just about every American family, and that's the soaring cost of higher education. Everybody's touched by this, including your president, who had a whole bunch of loans he had to pay off. 3 years ago, I worked with Democrats to reform the student loan system so that taxpayer dollars stop padding the pockets of big banks and instead help more kids afford college. Then I capped loan repayments at 10% of monthly incomes for responsible borrowers, so that if somebody graduated and they decided to take a teaching job, for example, that didn't pay a lot of money, they knew that they were never going to have to pay more than 10% of their income, and they could afford to go into a profession that they loved. That's in place right now. And this week we're working with both parties. To reverse the doubling of student loan rates that happened a few weeks ago because of congressional inaction. So this is all a good start, but it isn't enough. Families and taxpayers can't just keep paying more and more and more into an undisciplined system where costs just keep on going up and up and up. We'll never have enough loan money, we'll never have enough grant money to keep up with costs that are going up 5, 6, 7% a year. We've got to get more out of what we pay for. Now, some colleges are testing new approaches to shorten the path to a degree, or blending teaching with online learning to help students master material and earn credits in less time. And some states are testing new ways to fund college based not just on how many students enroll, but how many of them graduate. How well do they do? So this afternoon, I'll visit the University of Central Missouri to highlight their efforts to deliver more bang for the buck to their students. And in the coming months, I will lay out an aggressive strategy to shake up the system, tackle rising costs, and improve value for middle-class students and their families. It is critical that we make sure that college is affordable for every single American who's willing to work for it.